Hey everybody, all my friends and brothers and sisters in Facebook land. It's great to be live with you, and thank you so much for the response to the recent Facebook Live when we were talking about not the directionally challenged people, not the people that are out there lost on the road, but we were talking about the connectionally challenged. And during that broadcast, I did a very historic thing. I came out of the closet as a nerd who is also connectionally challenged. That's right, folks. Why do you think I'm doing this right now? I'm trying to learn how to connect a little bit more. And so I'm just practicing, and you're watching this apparently, so that's great. And it's because we're connectionally challenged. Yesterday we talked about that a lot, but I wanted to go into even more controversial waters here today, because of course this is Facebook, and these are the times that we live in, and we just feed off of controversy. Actually, what I'm going to do is try to put the kibosh on the controversy. I'm going to teach you a couple of things, make you aware of a couple of things that you probably actually already know to do, but may or may not be doing, to be able to tone down some of the controversy. So we're not going to be talking about connecting today. We're not going to be talking about the connectionally challenged people, nerds like me out there, but we're going to talk about something even worse. And it sounds very similar to connectionally challenged, but it's a little bit more touchy. That's right, my friends. We're going to be talking about those people that you may know in your life who are not connectionally challenged. They are correctionally, yes, correctionally challenged. Yes, I'm going to go there. You better believe this. I'm going to go there, folks, because we know that they walk among us. There are people who are correctionally challenged. And what does that look like? Well, you know what it looks like. You know what it looks like in politics. You know what it looks like out there in the world. You know what it looks like on the job. You know what it looks like at home. You know what it looks like for those in the generations maybe senior to you. And you know what that looks like in generations junior to you. And you know how that looks like being correctionally challenged in people that are your own age. So yes, I'm going to go there today. We're going to talk about how to assist the correctionally challenged. And actually, before we even get there, that's we're going to take us some time to get there. And this is going to be a short Facebook Live because I'm going to chop them up as a series. I'm going to bang out one after another. For those of you that are joining us live here, you won't have to wait. I'm not going to tease you that much. But first, I mean, what's in it for you? Why should you keep watching this? Well, I'm going to talk with you and give you some tips to influence, to be able to increase your influence on social media and be able to grow your impact while being able to connect with other people through this issue. Actually, by sidestepping this issue and knowing that it's there, that there are correctionally challenged people right here among us on social media. And so anyway, excuse me. So why are we talking about this? Why else? Well, because this is really expensive. It is an expensive. I mean, if you thought that being connectionally challenged was costly in the workplace, which I didn't even go there yesterday. I didn't even talk about this is a multi-billion dollar issue in industry. It's not an industry, but it's like people, we're torching billions of dollars just in this country through miscommunication of the connectionally challenged and just being a nerd and being a geek and not even be, I mean, there's a whole way to solve that. But can you imagine if being connectionally challenged is that expensive, how much even more expensive it is to be correctionally challenged? Oh my gosh. And we shall see. So, you know, it's a more expensive issue. It's a malady. It's a blight on our land. People, listen to me. This is really, really important. And it's not just a financial cost, but it's a social cost, as we see not every day on Facebook, not every hour on Facebook. It's like every single minute that we're here on Facebook. It's like we've got this issue with the correctionally challenged, other correctionally challenged people. Hopefully not you and me. But I think we all have a little bit of this inside. But it's like minute by minute, it is costing us friendships here on Facebook being correctionally challenged. All right. So I'm talking about that. So, what is being correctionally challenged? Well, it's basically an expensive human condition where we decide, all of us decide in our own way to keep doing the wrong thing in spite of its wrongness. That all of us, we continue to keep doing the wrong thing willfully. We keep resenting anyone, no matter how tactfully they try to point it out to us. We resist because our feelings are hurt and we don't want to change, at least in that moment. So, I mean, that's part of the human condition. It's all right. But I got to just pause here because, and of course, use an 80s reference. There will be more, but there was a great John Candy and Steve Martin movie. Now type it in if you know where I'm going on this. It came out, I think, during the holidays, Thanksgiving, and it involved modes of transportation. It was a really funny movie. One of the famous quotes that, because I'm not going to provide a context, I'll just say the quote: "Those aren't two pillows." And if you know the context, that was maybe inappropriate, but those aren't two pillows was one of the best things. Nobody's typed it in yet. I know it takes a little bit of time, but I'm just going to beat you to the punch. It was planes, trains, and automobiles. And probably the funniest part of the movie was those aren't two pillows. But anyway, another part that was funny that illustrates this part about being correctionally challenged. There was a correctional moment in the middle of that movie, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. And John Candy was driving the car and Steve Martin was right there with them, and they're driving and they finally got transportation again, because it's basically they've been, Steve Martin and John Candy are basically transportational, refugees. I mean, they're basically stranded, dependent on the kindness of other people for help to provide that next mode of transportation. They get a rental car, and they're just driving down the street. And there's one problem. And the good news is that there are some other kind people that pull up alongside of them at great personal risk to them to try to let John Candy and Steve Martin know the seriousness of the problem. And what do? The people that are driving the car, they come up alongside them and they turn and they look parallel to John Candy and Steve Martin, and they say the words that you might know: "You're going the wrong way." And John Candy, I mean, it's winter, so the windows are up. John Candy looks over at Steve Martin. They look at these other people that are alongside of them that are crazy idiot people yelling at them, and they're like, "Huh?" And then the people over here are like, "You're going the wrong direction." And they're like, "Huh?" And then they're like, "You're going to kill somebody." And then Steve Martin and John Candy, they're like, making fun and acting like they're, impaired or something, when the reality is Steve Martin and John Candy are driving on the wrong side of the yellow line. And so what happens right after that is there's two semis come, and somehow they get right through it. They escape within an inch of their life. And yeah, it's hilarious. Now, I mean, again, folks, this is really politically incorrect, kind of the angle I'm taking. I may get some heat for this, but I'm just, we need to, here's the point. We need to be open to correction. It's not enough to be able to connect. We need to be able to receive correction for a number of reasons in our life. You know why? Here's why. Because being correctionally challenged in the same way that it almost cost John Candy and Steve Martin, their characters, their lives very easily. The same way, this issue is costing people we know and love and want to help, maybe even us in some ways, it's costing, potentially destroying or weakening our relationships on the job, in our business with our customers and our clients and our downline, or whatever kind of business you have, your home, your family, your parents, your kids. It's bad. Who do you know? Don't type it in. Don't type it in, but who do you know? Think, don't type. Who do you know who might be correctionally challenged? You could steer them over here and they won't watch this video, even though I'm trying to make it fun. Who do you know who is correctionally challenged? Or are you, and when I do that, when you point and you say you, then you've got 4 other things pointing back to you. So are we correctionally challenged? How are we correctionally challenged? Now, before we go, I'm going to wrap this thing up because I already blew through 10 minutes. I'm surprised so many people are here watching this, and we're going to jump right back on those of you that want to hear the next part. But there's a 4-letter word about being correctionally challenged. And I'm going to tell you what that word is in the next video. I'm going to share with you a 1980s icon who is behind this whole thing. It's an ancient word, it's a repopularized word, and it's a word from the 80s. And I'm going to tell you there on the next Facebook Live. Thanks for joining me, folks.